Do you know that horror movies have been hiding queerness in plain sight for over a century? Hi, my name is Avery, and here at Honeybee Horror, we discuss how to interpret horror movies through a queer lens. Once a slur, the word queer has been reclaimed and now can refer to anyone who is not heterosexual or cisgender. This is a useful term that refers to a unique community because there are many characteristics that queer people share, including having to worry about acceptance as well as making it difficult to find representation in media. Now, representation matters because by representing people in movies and in TV, we're telling them it's okay for them to exist how they are. They don't need to change who they are in order to be accepted by society. Being forced to change who you are can create cognitive dissonance that is quite literally painful to have to live with, as well as prevents you from reaching your full potential of becoming an actualized person. So if that's what it means to be queer, why am I looking for queerness in movies that aren't explicitly queer? First, to combat erasure. Studios have a long history of removing scenes or removing dialogue from movies, even after the movie's already been finished, that don't go along with their idea of what morality looks like. One of the earliest examples of this is the movie Dracula's Daughter, which came out in 1936. In the film, Dracula's daughter seduces women. However, the studio cut those scenes before release. This is just one of many examples of mutilating a movie for morality. Second, to highlight queer coding. There's many times where a writer or a director wanted to put in a message about queerness, but was not able to because of the morality codes that we just mentioned. One example of this is Hellraiser. Now, while Hellraiser itself doesn't feature any queer characters and it doesn't say anything explicitly about the Cenobites, they do wear a lot of leather, they have a fascination with pain, and they are into, a little bit of light, almost BDSM. Now, this whole thing, BDSM, leather, finding pleasure in pain, was a fad in the gay subculture at the time of the release of the movie, and notably, Hellraiser was released by Clive Barker, who was an open homosexual. Third, to learn by contrast, because even when a movie doesn't have explicitly queer themes or a clear message, just the way that it presents characters teaches us what society expects of people in those situations. One example of this is American Psycho. Now, while American Psycho, like the rest of these films that I've mentioned, isn't explicitly queer, Patrick Bateman was designed to be a critique of heteronormative society at the time. And so while it doesn't explicitly mention anything about queerness or homosexuality, it validates the queer perspectives that are critiques of male culture at the time. So why horror movies? Because one, I love horror movies and it's my channel, so if you don't like, get off the channel. But also because horror taps into something visceral. It taps into those deep parts of us and those deep parts of society that we normally like to hide. It reveals the hidden biases. It shows what we think of certain groups. And so by delving into horror movies specifically, we're creating a fun place to dive into the subconscious. Additionally, horror movies have smuggled in themes that mainstream cinema doesn't want to touch. Since the beginning has given us sympathetic villains who were shunned for being different, and brave final girls who had to transform themselves in order to survive. Looking at horror through a queer lens isn't just reinterpreting movies, but reclaiming a genre that's belonged to us all along. So if you want to explore horror's hidden queerness with me, hit subscribe to join the hive.